You don't have to change to get your specific person, and you don't have to wait either. And by the end of this video, you're gonna be thinking that way too, and you're gonna find that the process or progress with your specific person goes up a billion times because, as I've mentioned in previous videos, everything is a reflection of our assumptions. So the only thing stopping you is what we are assuming can stop us, right? And there are no barriers. As I mentioned previously, we don't have to condition our desire, and nothing can stand in our way. There's no circumstance that can come between you and your manifestation. But I wanted to go back to a Neville Goddard and a Joseph Murphy metaphor like I used in the previous video. And this is going to help us make so much more sense of the situation. So remember, I talked about how we are connected to our God state. I mentioned the quote, "I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I." So we are in direct connection to our God state. So our higher self, the universe, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, you have access to an unlimited amount of power, an unlimited amount of knowledge, unlimited literally everything. This reality is yours. So when we begin to think about the idea of changing, so changing our specific person, changing ourselves, or waiting an amount of time to get what we desire, if, like I mentioned in the previous video, we actually talk about it in the way of if God would do this, or your higher self would do this, and we kind of relate it to ourselves, it's going to make a whole lot more sense. So my first question, the idea of changing. We feel like we have to change our specific person. Our reality is a way and we have to alter it. But can God, or does God change? And you'd be like, well, no. And you'd be like, well, why? And because God is everything. So within us, we are everything we could ever want simultaneously, everything we could ever do, have, we already have it. So there's no changing going on. And this by itself is going to help us out a lot when it comes to manifesting, because when we feel like we have to change ourselves or things around us, that makes us think effort needs to be exerted to get the thing that we want or that we're trying to do, right? But if we know that, okay, God can't change or my higher self can't change, and me and I and my Father are one, you aren't changing either. You're only bringing about something that is already within you. You have everything. You can't change. You're already the thing that you want. We just have to exhibit it or go into the state of it. And even thinking this idea, along with the one that I mentioned previously, which is God has no problems, so who would be there to solve them? So you don't have any problems when it comes to your specific person manifestation, because if you did, who would solve them? These ideas and reminding yourselves of them each and every day is going to be really, really powerful. And I hope if you haven't read a Neville Goddard or Joseph Murphy book, I would go out, definitely get one. Read it, because I absolutely love the metaphors. I love everything about them. And because think of this idea. So think of the idea, God's not changing. God's only exhibiting the all-powerfulness that they already are. So that's us too. We're not changing. We're just exhibiting the power that we already have within them. But now I also want to move over and talk about the second portion of that statement, in which we don't have to wait an amount of time to get what we want. So again, think about it. And does your higher self, does your subconscious have to wait wait or take time to get something? Take a moment and answer that question. You would say, no, absolutely not. God does not have to wait to get what they want, right? And you and your Father are one, so you don't have to wait either. And the idea of change or time is just an illusion of an assumption that we are creating upon ourselves. And this idea kind of blows our minds, but it's only because we're not into the state of it. Joseph Murphy talks about the only reason, if you're in the US and you want to go to Italy, the only reason you feel you have to travel there is because you're assuming it to be. Because you can directly go there in your imagination, so you can go there physically any single time you want. You don't have to be restricted to what your physical form can do. And the higher, the more abundantly we're thinking that. And the more we realize God doesn't have to wait for what they desire, so why would we either? The more the idea that time is restraining us is going to completely go away. Because I love always, maybe I should ask you guys every single video, what's stopping your specific person from messaging you tomorrow? What's stopping them? You say, well, nothing, right? You're like, okay, so we already are in the belief that we can get whatever we want tomorrow. And who was stopping a multi-billionaire to writing you $1 million check tomorrow? And you'd be like, well, nothing, right? And it's like, so we know tomorrow, technically, and everything is happening now, but we're doing this metaphor for tomorrow. Tomorrow, anything can happen. So why would we assume that we're going to fit and just do the same exact things that we have been doing before? Why not assume something different? Why not take upon or encompass all of the power that our God state has with us right now, exhibit those powers, use them, and bring exactly what we want into our reality right now? But anytime you begin kind of stemming off my previous video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Anytime you begin to worry about time, ask yourself, does God have to wait for anything? And that's going to be its own answer, and you're going to know, okay, I don't have to worry about time. Or think about change. If you feel like I have to change to get this thing, does God have to change to get anything? You'd be like, no, he doesn't, or she doesn't, whatever you want to say. Your God state doesn't change, doesn't take time. It already has it. There is no time that can expand to change the all-powerfulness or the all-unlimited possibility and potential that is contained within your higher self and your God state right now. So tap into that. Remind yourself of that anytime you begin to worry, because the how and the when are the only things causing you anxiety when it comes to manifestation, right? Those are the only things we feel limit us, right? We're thinking, how am I going to get what I want? When am I going to get what I want? And those truly don't matter. You don't have to worry about those. Here's another one. Does God worry about how or when they're going to receive something? You'd say, absolutely not. That question would be absolutely bizarre to your God state, to your higher self. It absolutely would make no sense for them. So why would it make any sense for you to fear or worry about those sorts of things? And again, when I mean 100%, I mean literally 100% of everything you could ever worry about, have anxiety about with the manifestation falls between the how and the when. So remember, your God state, your higher self, would never, ever, ever worry about either of those things, so you don't have to either. There's no use in that. Remind yourself of this. This is my challenge for you guys, along with from my other video. My challenge for you guys this week is to do this. Just every day, remind yourself. You could literally do anything. Does God have to worry about time? Does God have to worry about change? Does God have to, does God have any problems? Because if he did, who would solve them? Remind yourself of that. And you're going to get into your God state and tap into that power. If you guys did have any questions on this video, leave them in the comment section below. Remember, you can also reach out to me on my website, which is kyleaugustcoaching.com, for a personal question, or if you wanted to sign up for one-on-one coaching. Make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video, and then don't forget to subscribe as well so you don't miss any videos. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.